400 foot up, but everybody's turning around and scouring the skies here. I know you can see the plane on the screen, and I have Peter Chandler, one of the test pilots, with me here. Peter, can you catch a glimpse of it over your shoulder yet?
Yes, in fact I can. I can see the landing lights now. Just above the hangar there.
And it's quite a sight, Peter, to see it coming in, having been up now for 3.5 hours, a wonderful takeoff in perfect weather. What can we expect to see now?
Okay, well, he will be flying just a normal approach speeds. He'll come down to about 300 or 400 feet, and then he will put on some power just to take the airplane back up again. It gives him a chance to have a first look at the approach before actually doing the landing, and it also, of course, gives us a chance to see the airplane a bit closer up in flight.
It gives them a chance to show off for the cameras. Surely that's why they're doing it.
Yes, all right then.
They've been up there for 3.5 hours. They'll be tired, won't they now?
They will be tired, yes. And it takes a lot of concentration, particularly a flight like this. So yes, they will be fairly tired, but used to it. I mean, it's the sort of flying, not perhaps to this degree, but the sort of test flying that we do quite regularly.
Yes, certainly. There's 6 of them on board, of course, a multinational crew. The engineers will have had a busy time of it as well, won't they?
They will, yes. Yes, they will have had a busy time monitoring all the systems and for the flight control systems as well, doing a lot of development work on the flight controls during the flight.
And there's crowds of people here, about 50,000 we're told, around the perimeter of the airport, but of course a particularly important day for the Airbus workers, many of whom I think are over there.
That's right, yes, there are crowds all around the airport, so yes, it's a very, very important day for all of us down here.
You, of course, yourself working here at Airbus. What is it like to be a member of staff, having worked so hard since 2000 this plane's been in development, and then seeing it actually take to the air the first time?
Well, it was a very emotional moment this morning to see it lift off. It's the culmination of, as you say, several years of work, and it was, yes, it was very exciting to see it go, and a great sense of satisfaction to see it take to the air.
And there's chase jets obviously behind it who've been keeping an eye on its progress with a test pilot on board so he can have a look at the exterior. What will you in particular be looking for when the plane touches down here?
Me personally? Nothing in particular really, just to see a nice, safe, smooth touchdown, but I'm sure that's what we'll have.
Well, certainly it seems to have gone very, very smoothly so far, and we can see the Airbus A380 as it comes down towards us here. It's being flown, I think, at the moment by Claude Delay. He's the man at the controls?
That's correct, yes. The 2 pilots, Jacques Rosé, flew the takeoff in the first part of the flight, and Claude is flying the airplane now.
How many test pilots are there altogether?
Here, well, there are about, I suppose, 20, 25 test pilots, but we have a whole variety of jobs. So some of our work is development flight tests like this. Some of it is just testing the airplanes as they come off the production line. So it's a mix of work.
And looking at it coming into land, I know you can't take your eyes off it, and do feel free. A little envious glint in your eye?
Oh yes, I would have loved to have been in there, but you know, I'm very happy for the 2 guys that are flying it. They've had the opportunity to do it.
And if you would, because you know this plane as well as anyone else who's not been up into the air in it at least, just describe for us what's happening as it comes down now.
Well, they will just be flying an approach as if it was any other airplane. At this stage, they know roughly the handling of the airplane. They will just be controlling the speed and the flight path. And here, if you see, he's put the power on, and he's just climbing up again now.
That's right. How low did he get down to then?
About 300 or 400 feet, not particularly low.
But low enough certainly for us all to get a good view. You can see the other plane behind it, keeping an eye on it, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. That's the chase plane that's there really now, probably more for filming. He's spent a lot of time during the flight doing inspections around the aircraft to make sure everything looks good, but now he's there to film it.
And the plane actually coming over the top of our heads down with the landing gear down. Let's just have a listen to it.
Looks good.
The blue and white livery of the Airbus A380 there, just around 500-600 feet above us, climbing steadily and turning to the right, back over Toulouse Airport itself. And a wonderful round of applause from everybody here as they got their first real close-up glimpse of it since the takeoff 3.5 hours ago. Quite a long test flight. They said they didn't know how long they would be up there until the first half hour got underway. But obviously, Peter, it went pretty well for them to have been up there for such a time.
Yes, as I said at the start, they had several different test points that they could go to depending on how things went, and they have done a full test program, so they'll be very pleased with what they've achieved today.
think they will. And now, of course, it gets onto the more tricky question of whether this will actually be a money spinner. I know you're a test pilot, not a marketing man, but you certainly seem confident that there is a market for this plane.
I feel sure there is a market for it, but say you really aren't talking necessarily to the right person here. I'm more interested in making sure that it all works and that we can get it efficiently through to certification, which I'm sure we will.
And I think possibly you have to be here to feel the romance of it all. Everybody with their eyes glued up to the sky. But some will say, look, this isn't a plane with the beauty of Concorde. Aren't we going backwards in aircraft design?
Well, it's designed for efficiency rather than looks, perhaps, but I don't think it looks bad.
It looks very much like other Airbuses, doesn't it?
Well, it's put on a bit of weight, I think, but it's certainly a larger, fatter fuselage, but no, I think it looks all right.
Well, it does face.
And do you think we can expect now Boeing to jump into the market? They obviously pulled out back in 2001. They said they thought the future was smaller planes. But looking at this, there's got to be a few envious glimpses coming from across the Atlantic.
I don't know. They obviously have a different view of the market and a different strategy, and it's not really for me to comment on what they have done or what they will do next.
Now, can you give us any idea now of when it's actually coming round again? It's obviously taking a little bit of a circle around the airfield.
Yeah, it will go probably about 10 to 12 miles away and then turn back and come into land. So I would think probably another between 5 and 10 minutes before it actually lands.
There you have it, 5 or 10 minutes to touchdown. We will, of course, do our utmost to bring you that live, but there you've had the closest up glimpse so far of the Airbus A380, the world's biggest passenger plane.
Okay. Rachel, thanks for that. Back to you, of course, when we get that landing. Well, let's update you now with more of the day's news. And Private Johnson Bahari has become the first living soldier to receive the Victoria Cross for 40 years. He received the medal from the Queen for 2 acts of heroism during his service in Iraq. The 25-year-old was seriously wounded twice, once guiding an armoured convoy through hostile territory, and then again in a rocket-propelled grenade assault that left him in a coma. Well, Johnson Bahari may only be a private, but today he took precedence over the head of the army. General Sir Michael Jackson had to wait to get his award as he received the honour of Knight Grand Cross or the Order of the Bath. While yachtswoman Dame Ellen MacArthur also received her honour during the ceremony at Buckingham Palace. She was awarded the title after sailing solo around the world in her record-breaking 71-day trip. But let's return, of course, to the man at the top of that list, Johnson Bahari, and we've got Jeff at Buckingham Palace, having seen that honour being awarded to him. What we've said before, Jeff, is a very unassuming man. Indeed, he suggested when he heard what he'd done, was that really me that did all that?
That's right. He is a very dignified and quietly spoken hero. This certainly hasn't gone to his head. It was very interesting inside the palace. He had, as you say, he was the first of more than 100 recipients to receive his honour. Such is the primacy, of course, of the Victoria Cross. So he was the first to step up to the Queen. And they had quite a conversation, 30 or 40 seconds, very animated conversation. I said to Johnson Bahari, what did the Queen want to talk to you about? And he said, well, she talked a little bit about the events that had led to him receiving the award, but she was more